Young ladies and gentlemen, hello everyone. You are welcome to this new geopolitical conference dedicated to world news. Top stories, international news, the famous peace plan for Ukraine, which he was clever. We just learned the content of this plan. You are no doubt aware of this. Yesterday, we hosted a video conference at account of which we announced that he had a secret peace plan on Ukraine, which had been developed, secretly accepted the redundancy between Russia and Washington to close, while excluding Ukraine by excluding the European Union. So this peace plan was drawn up, a peace plan which includes 28 points, but the content was not yet known. Today, we know the content, and what surprises the world is that this content is entirely and definitely in favor of Russia. That's another Russia's victory. It would seem that Russia is said to have imposed this peace plan in Washington, therefore in Donald Trump accepted it. So the plan is finalized, we don't know. How and why did this plan clever? We're talking geopolitics here. You know very well that when we are in geopolitics, the actors deliberately scare people away documents to prepare psychologically the opponent. Certainly, we are facing such a situation. So, the content of this peace plan I was still surprised by Ukraine, but as Zelensky has already made a commitment, he said that he wants to go quickly and rapidly towards peace. One wonders what Volodymyr Zelensky will choose. Is it that he will decide to really go towards this peace plan, or what is it? What will you say in concrete terms? But the Zelensky's first statements, I just did that, it already gives an idea. So young ladies and gentlemen, within the framework of this geopolitical conference dedicated to world news, that's what it's all about. Hot and burning news that let's talk since all eyes are on us are focused on this peace plan. At least there's a glimmer of hope, which proves that we will soon be heading towards the end of this Russian conflict. So before we continue, I'll tell you request to share the conference at maximum. Give lots of likes. And so to please some people, I decided to introduce a new section called Flash News, since there are some who they just want the information. That's it. So I will just give the information in alert format in the news flashes, and then afterwards it comes back, we decipher it properly. There you go. So the news flashes, that's what are 30-second flashes, like you must have already noticed. So those who are for the news flashes, that's it. You can mention it in the comments. It's good that we can continue. There are news flashes. We can only give the information without deciphering it and then continue. There will be others that we will to go back over this in order to decipher it, if it's really necessary and relevant. So give me your various opinions in the comments. All of that, this is to improve the quality of the information we provide here. Let's go into the depths then. Yes, what's going on? In this famous plan, Russia is demanding always the same territories. That is to say, Russia does not have changed by a single iota. Russia, it hasn't changed at all. So according to the information that they are circulating, we are told no, that this planned peace takes into account the exchanges that Vladimir Putin had a conversation with Donald Trump on the Alaskan side in 2025 there. And that's what it is. What they are expected. But the plan is secret because it's not before advantageous for Russia. And at least sorry about Ukraine. Why the European Union has not been associated? Because it's not the advantage of the European Union. So we therefore learn that the plan is American. So it's an American plan, but American plan that America received from the hands of Russia. That is to say, Russia wrote the peace plan and then given to Washington so that Washington imposes it on Ukraine and Europe. And that's where the real victory for the Russian Federation. If Europe and Zelensky accept this content, the content of this plan, that means to say that it's a victory already assured on the military front, a victory, Russia's assured victory assured of Russia on the ground diplomatic, a guaranteed victory for Russia over the domain of the imposition of his imperialism on the West. Because than to force the West, a West that had said that it would have to be worth defeat Russia on the field of battle or through sanctions. If today the boss of the West, which happens to be America, bends over backwards in front of Russia's demands, that means to say that Vladimir Putin has done very strong. And so we learn that the plan American includes, so the annexation, the recognition of the annexation of the Crimea, which was annexed in 2014, and which until then was not recognized as Russian territory by the West. So America recognizes the annexation and other regions that have been taken by Russia very recently. So that is to say, centimeter by centimeter, square meter by square meter, everything that Russia was able to obtain from Ukraine's side will fall to Russia. And besides, if this agreement, this plan was developed multilaterally with the presence of Europe, of Ukraine, we were never going to achieve such a content. That's clear. That's why they did it in a closed room. So, according to this plan, Russia will control 20% of the Ukrainian territory. We're talking about 20%, that's not small. 20% of Ukrainian territory. And so, here is what AFP reported. Responsible, who manages the case but who preferred to remain anonymous. So it must be said that Moscow had already made demands in the past that Kiev ceded to it the regions of Donetsk, Lugansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia, which Russia claims their annexation since September 2022. So everything that has been annexed since September 2022, Russia is keen on this firmly. So Russia annexed them, Russia controlled this territory completely. And so Russian President Vladimir Putin, who had already demanded that Ukraine withdraw his troops from the Donetsk regions of Lugan in exchange for freezing the line of front in the Zaporizhzhia and regions Kherson in the south. So according to the Turkey, which is an intermediary in 3 cycles of, to speak, indirect contact between Kiev and Moscow, I was going to say, so Turkey also specifies the same requirements to which the President Vladimir Putin had confessed. So this, which means that in this plan, everything is favorable to the Russian Federation. Now, who leaked the plan? A plan very favorable to Moscow. At the moment, we don't know who leaked it, the plan, but within the framework geopolitically, we know it's done, specifically so that the plan could be executed. That is to prepare morale. So, we go see what the reaction of Volodymyr Zelensky and what will be the reaction from Europe as well as NATO. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that was it. The top news stories. I'll get back to you. So later on with some news information, it was of course the voice from your humble servant, the Samurai.